What if I told you you could boost your well-being and build super strong mental health even when you sleep by tapping into your subconscious mind? In this video, I want to make the case for why that is true. And it's not a new concept. Back in 1960, the famous New York plastic surgeon Maxwell Maltz wrote a book, Cybernetics. And in there, he talked about his work back in the 60s as a plastic surgeon and seeing patients coming to him looking for plastic surgery to boost their confidence and the feel-good factor. And what he was finding is that patients were coming back having had the surgery and still had those inner feelings of doubt, those inner issues of lack of confidence and that kind of stuff bubbling away. So he changed his direction away from plastic surgery to look at the mind and to look at the inner workings of the body, to see how people could change for the better without the need for the external influence of plastic surgery. And he found that you can influence the mind, the subconscious mind, and even today, 60 or 70% still yet to be understood and uncovered. But he found back in 1960, earlier than that you could influence the subconscious mind by doing certain things. And in his book, Cybernetics, he uses the following examples to show how this is true. He goes to the world of the hypnotist. So for you today, if you imagine that person on stage that's been hypnotized and is stood alone on the stage, the audience are there gathered watching, and the person on stage has been hypnotized and convinced that they're actually not stood on a stage in front of thousands of people. They're stood on a big block of ice in Antarctica with no clothes on, and it's freezing cold. And on stage in front of everybody, they start to shiver and get cold. Or the guy on stage who's convinced that the juicy red apple is in fact an onion and bites into it and can't understand why the audience are all laughing at him. He's been hypnotized to believe that it's a juicy red apple. Or the lady taken up on stage, hypnotized, puts her hands on the table and is hypnotized to the point where she believes her hands are stuck to the table, glued to the table. And try as hard as she might, she cannot lift her hands off the table. So Maltz makes the case and uses the hypnotist as a practical example of how you can influence the mind, the subconscious, to make you believe a certain thing. And he taps into that belief. He taps into that inner belief, that inner opportunity to influence the mind, but then link it to well-being. So the next step forward, if you think about, take safeandsoundwellbeing.com, my channel, all the tips, tools and techniques that I share, if you embed them into your life, so let's give you some examples. Gratitude. So if you look behind you now, we're here by the River Irwell, North Manchester, stunning today. If you take gratitude, for example, and you embed gratitude into your well-being practice, into your daily life, so you become grateful for the tiny things around you, you adopt some of the breathing techniques, some of the tiny tweaks, the tiny mindset tweaks, the bit about overthinking or worrying about stuff. If you adopt mindfulness, the ability to bring yourself and concentrate on that moment in time, to not worry about what's gone before, not worry about what's going to happen tomorrow, but fully enjoy the beauty of life right now in this moment. Just 3 quick examples. There's loads more on my channel. Have a look. Incidentally, subscribe and make sure you never miss any of those tips, tools and techniques. But going back to Maltz and the science, what he says, and again, it's not new, this is back from the 1960s, his book still given to university and graduate students now studying psychology. If you embed the tiny tips, tools and techniques into your well-being practice, your psyche, consciously embedding them, practicing them every day, they will influence your subconscious. There's 60-70% back here still to be understood, will influence that in a good way. Protecting your mental health and well-being even when you sleep. And on the topic of sleep, the better you feel, the more grounded, the more relaxed, the more calm, the more content with life, the better you're going to sleep. No brainer. So embodying the tips, tools and techniques that safe and sound wellbeing, my stuff, embodying that into your wellbeing practice every day, all day, creates a calm, focused, wellbeing positive flow to your day. And in doing so, helps you sleep better and kicking away, working away while you sleep, back there, it's a winner. So the evidence is there from Maxwell Maltz, the science is there. But from my own personal perspective, now that I finished in the cops, 8 years ago retired, 30 years of dramas, of excitement, of trauma. It's only now when I look back, I see that science back then from the 1960s, Maltz's teachings back then, is true. The stuff that I was building up during a 30-year career in the cops, all the stuff you can see right now on my channel, the tips, tools and techniques, I was building them into my consciousness, practicing all this stuff, which was tipping into my 60 or 70% back here. So I always slept well. I got through my 30 years relatively unscathed. And when the tough times came, they helped me get through. I hope this helps and gives you food for thought today and makes the connection between the conscious thought, what you think every day, and how that links into the subconscious mind back here. So to finish, take a look at my channel, have a look at the stuff that's on there, subscribe and embed into your daily well-being practice. I guarantee it will help you build super strong mental health, unbreakable personal resilience, and serve you well every day of your life. I hope this helps. Take care, keep well, and we'll see you soon.